Episode 26 The house that watches. The air outside the house was warm, but Zennar's heart was still pounding. He paused for a moment in front of the door that had closed behind him, the inscription still fresh, as if someone had just finished carving it. This was the beginning, not the end. These words kept echoing in Zennar's mind as he tried to make sense of what had happened. The voice that kept appearing, the shadow that kept haunting him, and the house that had become like a living entity, not just walls. Zennar composed himself and said in a low voice, "If this is the beginning, then I have to understand what awaits me." Back on the road, after taking a step away from the house, he felt something strange, as if he wasn't alone. The street was eerily quiet. Not even a cat's meow, not a dog howling in the distance. All of this made him constantly look behind him as he walked. But every time he looked, the street was empty. Until he noticed something. When he looked ahead, he heard a faint whisper. When he looked behind him, the whisper disappeared. He stopped, looked around, and said, "Enough playing around. Show yourself." And from the silence, a very faint voice came out, a familiar one, "Go back, you won't find answers outside." Zennar froze. "I went outside, and you were inside. How are you talking to me here?" The voice returned, "We're not tied to a place, but what's searching for you is tied to you." A new sign. Suddenly, Zennar felt a slight burning sensation in his hand. He looked and saw a small red line on the back of his palm, like a scratch, but this scratch was the same circle symbol he had seen inside. "What's this? You did this." The voice, "Not us, it was him. This is the sign, the first step before he starts chasing you outside the house." Zennar, "So the house wasn't imprisoning me, it was protecting me?" The voice, "Finally, I understand, but I understand too late." The shadow returns. The cold air that was in the house returned. But this time, it was in the street. The air was suddenly drawn in, as if the world had been sucked around Zennar, and his hair moved even though there was no wind. All of this was a prelude to the same feeling that had wrapped around his neck in the previous episode. But this time, clearer. Closer. The voice shouted, "Run now, don't look back." Zennar turned around instinctively and saw her, the same figure, the same unnatural height. But this time, she had a pale expression, like a face forming and then disappearing, like it was trying to solidify its shape so it could appear before him. Escape. Zennar ran immediately, his steps quick on the dirt road. He felt the shadow wasn't running, but it was moving at the same effortless speed and getting closer. The houses on the street began to blur in his vision, as if they were growing longer and shorter as he passed them, as if time itself were playing tricks on him. And it was clear that the only goal was to reach the big house at the beginning of the street, his grandfather's old house. The moment he got close, a faint light from the balcony lamp, which hadn't been working for years, fell on him. And the light echoed in the place like a barrier. And for the first time, the shadow slowed down. First line of defense. Zennar stopped at the doorstep of the house, and the sound of the shadow's footsteps disappeared, and it stood far away, at the end of the street, but standing in a fixed position as if he watched. The voice said to Zennar, "Here, you'll begin to understand. But if you go in, don't expect to come out the same way you came in." Zennar wiped his sweat, took a breath, and looked at the door. He opened the wooden door with his hand bearing the new mark, and opened it with a long creak. Before he entered, he heard the same voice say, "You have chosen the path from which there is no return," the open ending of the episode. And when he entered, the door closed quietly behind him, without him touching it. And the light above the door went out, and the shadow still stood at the beginning of the street, and its features grew, but it was still not complete, still taking shape.